You know, in just a couple of years, one single company has completely redrawn the map of Silicon Valley, the stock market, and really the future of tech itself. We used to know Nvidia as the company that made our video games look incredible. Now, they're at the dead center of the biggest technological shift of our lifetime: artificial intelligence.
Just take a second and look at this number, $4.23 trillion. As of September 2025, that is the mind-boggling market value of Nvidia. It's a number so big it almost doesn't feel real, but it represents a massive, seismic shift in the world of technology and finance.
And here's the proof. For the first time ever, Nvidia has blasted past the companies that have dominated for decades, Microsoft and Apple, to become the most valuable tech company on the entire planet. I mean, its stock shot up 48% in the last year alone, just leaving its rivals in the dust.
So, you see, this isn't just another stock market story. This is a fundamental reordering of who's in charge in the tech world. A company that was once kind of a niche player for gamers has just taken the throne. The big question is, how on earth do they do it?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Nvidia builds the engine that powers the entire AI revolution. Their special chips, you know them as GPUs or graphics processing units, are the absolute must-have hardware that makes modern AI even possible. And when I say must-have, I'm not exaggerating. Nvidia supplies something like 92% of all the GPUs used for AI in data centers. That's basically a monopoly. Every big tech company you can think of, OpenAI, Google, Meta, they're all scrambling to build AI. And guess what? They're all getting in line to buy Nvidia's stuff.
People have come up with some really great ways to describe this. Some call Nvidia the backbone of the AI revolution, but my personal favorite is this one. They're providing the shovels for the AI gold rush, right? Everyone's out there digging for AI gold, and Nvidia is the one selling all the shovels.
It's gotten so wild that even Nvidia's own CEO, Jensen Huang, can hardly believe it. He's on record saying the demand is just insane and way, way beyond anything the company ever planned for.
So, how did Nvidia build this lead that seems, well, unbeatable? It was no accident, that's for sure. It's the payoff from decades of just relentless innovation, creating what investors call a deep technological moat, basically a competitive advantage so strong that rivals are finding it almost impossible to get across.
And this is the latest weapon in their arsenal, the Blackwell Ultra GPU. It is an absolute monster of a chip, designed from the ground up for the giant AI models that are changing everything. This isn't just a small step up, it's a massive leap forward.
The numbers on this thing are just staggering. We're talking 1.5 times the AI performance of the last generation. But check out that last number, 30 quadrillion operations per second. That's a 30 with 15 zeros after it, in a single second from one chip. It's almost impossible to even wrap your head around that.
But wait, they're not even stopping with just GPUs. Their new strategy is to create these super chips that package their own custom CPUs right alongside their GPUs. This creates this tightly woven, hyper-efficient system just for AI, and it lets them squeeze out every single last drop of performance.
Okay, but here's the real secret sauce, the thing that makes their position so incredibly strong. Nvidia's dominance isn't just about having the fastest chip. No, they've built an entire ecosystem around their hardware that makes it incredibly painful for their customers to even think about switching.
The core of it all is their CUDA software platform. For years, developers have been using it to build their AI programs. If they wanted to switch to a competitor, they'd have to rewrite all of that code from scratch. It's a huge pain. Then you add in partnerships with every major cloud company, their own rentable supercomputers, and you start to see it. They are literally everywhere.
And if you want a sense of the sheer scale of the demand this ecosystem is feeding, get this. Meta, the company behind Facebook and Instagram, they announced they're building an AI supercomputer that's going to use over 1.3 million Nvidia GPUs. And that's just one customer.
Which, of course, brings us to the $4 trillion question. Is this unbelievable valuation actually justified? Is it a reflection of a new reality in tech? Or is it a massive, dangerous market bubble just waiting to pop? Now, if you look at the actual numbers, you can see the whole debate in a nutshell. Yeah, Nvidia's market cap is the highest, but its annual revenue is still a lot smaller than Apple's or Microsoft's.
The thing is, its profits are catching up super fast, and investors are basically betting that its revenue is about to absolutely explode.
To really put that bet into perspective, Deutsche Bank pointed out something that just blew my mind. Nvidia, as a single company, is now worth more than the entire combined stock markets of Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. All of them combined.
So you really have two very clear sides to this. The bulls, they argue that Nvidia is the essential company for the AI age, and that we're still in the super early days of a transformation that could last a decade or more. But the bears? They're waving red flags, warning that this valuation has gone into completely uncharted territory and could be a huge bubble risk for the entire market.
And here's why this matters to pretty much everyone, even if you don't own any Nvidia stock. Nvidia is part of that group called the Magnificent Seven tech giants. Together, they now make up about 30% of the S&P 500's total value. That means a lot of our retirement funds and investments are now tied directly to the success or failure of just a handful of companies.
In the end, the whole argument for Nvidia's massive price comes down to this really powerful idea from Jensen Huang himself. He believes that the iPhone moment of AI is here. That moment when a new technology comes along and just fundamentally changes everything, creating trillions of dollars in new wealth.
Which leaves all of us with the ultimate question. Is Nvidia really the permanent, indispensable foundation of this new AI world, a company that's destined to get even bigger? Or is this $4 trillion valuation a breathtaking peak, a moment that we'll all look back on as a classic history book market bubble? The answer to that is going to define the next decade of technology.